Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamdiri Nashtaprayeshu Abhatreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhakti Bhagavati Nishtiki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 2, Remembrance of Lord Krishna, text number 18. I know it was supposed to be Bhagavad Gita, being Friday and Saturday, but since I'm out of town, so, and speaking for 1 hour all by myself, it's not very easy thing to do. So we'll do Bhagavatam today and tomorrow, and next weekend we'll do Bhagavad Gita. Kova amushyanghi sarojarenu Vismritam Ishita Puman Vijigram Yo Visfuran Dhru Vitapena Bhumer Bharam Kritantena Tiraschakra. So Uddhavji is further speaking to Vidurji, who after smelling the dust of his lotus feet even once could ever forget it. Simply by expanding the leaves of his eyebrows, Krishna has given the death blow to those who are burning the earth. Lord Krishna cannot be accepted as one of the human beings, even though he played the role of an obedient son. His actions were so extraordinary that by the simple raising of his eyebrows, he could deliver death blows to those who were burning the earth. So, from this verse, it is pretty clear that Krishna does not appear on earth or appear on earth or any other planet, in fact, to kill the demons. He's saying the word says just by raising his eyebrows, he could have killed the demons. It's not a problem. So basically, he appears or he incarnates just to give pleasure to his current and to his future devotees. Perform wonderful pastimes with his associates, with his devotees, with his servants, with his lovers. That's all he does. Text 19. Drishta bhavadbhir nanu rajasuye chadasya krishnam dvishto api siddhi yam yogina samprihayanti samyak yogin kastad viraham saheta. You have personally seen how the king of Chedi, Shishupal, achieved success in yoga practice, although he hated Lord Krishna. Even the actual yogis aspire after such success with great interest by performance of their various practices. Who can tolerate separation from him? Lord Krishna's causeless mercy was exhibited in the great assembly of Maharaj Yudhishthira. He was merciful even to his enemy, the king of Chedi, who always tried to be an envious rival of the Lord. Because it's not possible to be a bona fide rival of the Lord, the king of Chedi was extremely malicious towards Lord Krishna. In this, he was like many other asuras like Kansa and Jarasandha. In the open assembly of the Rajsuya sacrifice performed by Maharaj Yudhishthira, Shishupal insulted Lord Krishna and he was finally killed by the Lord. So, as you all know, Shishupal was actually a cousin of Krishna. But when he was born, and Shishupal is one of those three incarnations of Jai Vijay. So first they came as Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. Second was Ravan and Kumbhakaran. And third was Shishupal and Dantavakra. So they were the two demons. And they were also either brothers or cousins. And they were related to Krishna. So Shishupal, when he was born, he had so much of envy towards Krishna. So much of envy. That it was foretold to his mother that Krishna would be the one who would kill this baby boy, Shishupal. So this aunt of Krishna then begged Krishna for a mercy. Then Krishna, what did it? He assured her that I will forgive him for if he commits 99 offenses at the same time. If he commits 100 offenses at the same time, I will kill him. Shishupal was so envious of Krishna. He had so much of hatred. He would always think of Krishna, but in an envious mode. And he would commit offenses. He would speak harshly and offensively against Krishna. But he would remember that 100 is a limit. So he would always stop at 99. And Krishna being Krishna, he had given his word, he would not kill him. But at this Rajsuya sacrifice, which Maharaj Yudhishthira performed, in that Rajsuya sacrifice, it's a process that one person will get the first puja after the sacrifice is done. So Nakul suggested name of Lord Krishna. He suggested that who else is more eligible to accept the first puja except Lord Krishna. And everybody agreed on that. Even Bhishma Pitama was there, Dronacharya was there, all the gurus were assembled. Duryodhan, actually in this Rajsuya sacrifice, Karna was made in charge of giving donations. He is known as Danavir. And Duryodhan was in charge of treasury, of spending. And Duryodhan was, of course, he was envious towards Maharaj Yudhishthira, but he was given in charge of treasury and he was really spending by both hands. And in this sacrifice, Krishna himself served all the sages and he served them food and he took their plates afterwards and he washed their feet. This is the service that Krishna did. So after the sacrifice was over, of course, this was decided that Krishna will get the first puja before the sacrifice began. And after the sacrifice was over, Shishupal started blaspheming Krishna in front of everybody. Now the question is, why he did not speak up when Nakul had just recommended Krishna's name? Why he waited till the Rajsuya sacrifice was over? It's also explained in Bhagavatam in the later chapters that he was so envious of Krishna, and now because Maharaj Yudhishthira, he was envious of Yudhishthira also, because how come Yudhishthira has so much of opulence and how come he's a devotee of Krishna and Krishna is getting so much of prestige, so much of honor in this assembly, that he waited till the Rajsuya sacrifice was over and this first puja, offering was to be done. Why? Because without the offering, the sacrifice is not considered complete. So his idea was, if I speak before the sacrifice, then they could have chosen somebody else for the first puja. But now it is decided that Krishna will receive the first puja or first worship, and I will try to break this rule. So that means the sacrifice would not be complete. He was so envious. And he started speaking against Krishna. He spoke so rashly, so offensively against Krishna and against Bhishma Pitama, against everybody, that Bhima, he was trembling with anger and he was ready to take his club and beat the life air out of this man, Shishupal. Arjun was ready to kill him with his arrows. But Krishna kept them quiet and he told them, in this sacrifice arena, you cannot commit violence because then the sacrifice won't be uh, properly finished, properly done. And Krishna was standing there smiling at Shishupal. But that day, because it was the last day of Shishupal, so Shishupal kept on insulting Krishna, kept on speaking offensively against Krishna, that he crossed the limit 100. And as soon as he crossed the limit 100, Krishna just took out his Sudarshan Chakra and killed Shishupal. Just sent the Sudarshan Chakra, cut off the head of Shishupal, and in such a way that not a single drop of his blood fell on the sacrificial arena. That was Krishna's plan. That his blood should not fall in the arena, and that's why the sacrifice can be completed without any problem. That's how envious he is. So it's not just the and in such envy, Shishupal was always remembering Krishna. But the problem was he was remembering in the wrong consciousness, not in a favorable consciousness, but in unfavorable, envious consciousness. So it's not considered one of the limbs of bhakti. So one of the limbs of bhakti are Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam. Smarana means remembering, but this remembrance by Shishupal is not considered bhakti. Kansa was always remembering Krishna, but Kansa's remembrance was out of fear, not out of mood of service of Krishna, out of love for Krishna. They're not thinking that way. So that's why it's not considered bhakti. Of course, remembering Krishna, even enviously, can have beneficial results. But to remember him favorably, lovingly, devotedly, can have the topmost results, can give us topmost results. So let's see what Prabhupada says. But it was seen by everyone in the assembly. In the open assembly of Rajasuya sacrifice performed by Maharaj Yudhishthira, Shishupal insulted Lord Krishna and he was finally killed by the Lord. But it was seen by everyone in the assembly that a light flashed out of the body of King of Chedi and merged into the body of Lord Krishna. This means that Chediraj achieved the salvation of attaining oneness with the Supreme, which is a perfection most desired by the Jnanis and Yogis, and for which they execute their different types of transcendental activities. Of course, here it was said that Chediraj Shishupal, he achieved salvation of attaining oneness or merging in Brahmjyoti, not even Brahmjyoti, I'm sorry. He attained salvation of merging within the body of the Supreme. That is even worse than merging in Brahmjyoti. But later on in Bhagavatam it is mentioned, because Shishupal was Jai, the two doorkeepers, Shishupal and Dandvakra, they were Jai and Vijay. So his soul, Shishupal's soul, went into the body of Krishna, and from there it went on to Vaikuntha planet. Because so Krishna wanted to make sure that we understand that if somebody remembers him out of envy, and so much so that the whole life one remembers him out of envy and commit offenses against him, he will still give him salvation, but that is considered as spiritual suicide. Because in this kind of salvation, merging into the body of Krishna, merging in Brahmjyoti is still better. I'll explain later. Merging in body of Krishna means that's it. That soul will never, ever, ever take birth again. Merging in Brahmjyoti, he still has a chance. From Brahmjyoti, he can fall in the material world. And again, take up the process of devotion service. But merging in the body of Krishna means no more chances again, ever given. But Shishupal, being a special person, because gatekeeper of Krishna and Vaikuntha Loka, Jai, So he went on through first emergent body of Krishna, and then he went on to Vaikuntha Loka because that was a different purpose. He had taken the form of this asura, Shishupal. So this is how it is explained in the later chapters of Bhagavatam, and how much Krishna loved and protected his devotee Maharaj Yudhishthira, that he wanted the Raja sacrifice to be properly performed, and at the same time he killed Shishupal in front of everybody. Duryodhan saw it, Karna saw it, Shakuni was there, he saw it, Dushasan saw it, but still they would not understand who Krishna is, what's the position of Krishna. Still they committed offenses against Maharaj Yudhishthira and Pandavas. So that's another lesson to be learned, that even if Krishna is standing right in front and he's performing his pastimes, if our consciousness is not properly placed, we will not be able to appreciate his pastimes, his powers, his position. So we have to properly place our consciousness. We have to purify our consciousness in such a way that even if we get a glimpse of Krishna's Rupa or Krishna's pastimes, we should be able to appreciate it. Even a glimpse, that is good enough to take us back to Godhead. And Prabhupada further writes, it's a fact that persons who are trying to understand the supreme truth by their personal endeavors of mental speculation or mystic powers of yoga achieve the same goal as others who are personally killed by the Lord. Both achieve the salvation of merging in the Brahmjyoti rays of the transcendental body of the Lord. The Lord was merciful even to his enemy. The success of King of Chedi was observed by everyone who was present in the assembly. Vidura was also present there, and therefore Uddhava referred to the incident to his memory. So this incident, Vidura saw it with his own eyes, and Uddhava is referring to it so that Vidura would remember Krishna. And see, the chapter's name is Remembrance of Lord Krishna. And here Shishupal's name is coming, that he also remembered Krishna, but in a wrong way. But because he remembered Krishna, he got the salvation. In fact, one place in Bhagavatam, later on it comes, I don't remember which canto, where Narad Muni is speaking with Maharaj Yudhishthira, and Maharaj Yudhishthira is lamenting, and he's saying, Shishupal was better than me because he remembered Krishna always, and I don't remember Krishna always. I forget Krishna. That's the humility of Maharaj Yudhishthira. He's comparing himself with a demon, with a rascal demon like Shishupal. And he's saying Shishupal is even better. That's the humility of a devotee. They think everybody is better than them. And here we think everybody is worse than me. I am better than everybody else. I am the best devotee. I am the purest devotee of the Lord. I know all the rules and regulations properly. I follow all the rules and regulations properly. Of course, to pose ourselves as humble devotee, as a humble person, we say, oh, I don't know anything, I'm not the best. But inside the heart we feel, oh no, see, I'm the best. See, I got the Mahaprashadam of the Lord, I get the Mahaprashadam garland of the deities. I'm so better than anybody else in the whole assembly of devotees. But we pose ourselves, oh, I'm the worst, but in the heart we want everybody to recognize how humble I am and how advanced I am. Text 20. Tatheva chanya naralokavira ya ahave Krishna mukhar vindam netre pibanto nayana bhiramam parthastra puta padamapur asya. Certainly others who were fighters on the battlefield of Kurukshetra were purified by the onslaught of Arjuna's arrows, while seeking the lotus-like face of Krishna. So pleasing to the eyes, they achieved the abode of the Lord. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna, appears in this world for two missionary purposes: to deliver the faithful and to annihilate the miscreants. But because the Lord is absolute, his two different kinds of actions, although apparently different, are ultimately one and the same. So absolute means all the contradictions are there, but still the effect is the same. His annihilation of a person like Shishupal is as auspicious as his actions for the protection of the faithful. All the warriors who fought against Arjuna, but who were able to see the lotus-like face of the Lord on the battlefield, achieved the abode of the Lord, exactly as the devotees of the Lord do. So it's mentioned at a place that because all the warriors, not just the warriors, in fact, all the animals who also died at the battlefield of Kurukshetra, they went back to the spiritual world. But which planet? They went back to Vaikuntha planet. But because they saw the Lord as Parthasarthi, so there is a planet called Parthasarthi Loka. That's where they all went. Now, discussing that point with the Maharaj in Delhi, so we were discussing, and it came up that now in Delhi, our temple is Shri Radha Parthasarthi Mandir. So the deity's name is Parthasarthi. So our temple can be, technically, can be considered as that Vaikuntha Loka, which represents Parthasarthi Loka. So maybe all these warriors who died in the battle of Mahabharata at the battlefield of Kurukshetra, they died and came to ISKCON Delhi, because that's Parthasarthi Loka. That's just speculation. Don't buy that. Shishupal saw the Lord also, but he saw him as his enemy, and his love was not awakened. Therefore, Shishupal achieved oneness with the Lord by merging in the impersonal glare of his body, called the Brahmjyoti. Others who were in the marginal position, being neither friends nor enemies, but slightly in love of Godhead, by appreciating the beauty of his face, were at once promoted to the spiritual planets, the Vaikunthas. The Lord's personal abode is called Golok Vrindavan, and the abodes where his plenary expansions reside are called the Vaikunthas, where the Lord is present as Narayan. Love of Godhead is dormant in every living entity, and the entire process of devotion service unto the Lord is meant for awakening this dormant eternal love of Godhead. But there are degrees of such transcendental awakening. Those whose love of God is awakened to the fullest extent go back to Golok Vrindavan planet in the spiritual sky, whereas persons who have just awakened to love of Godhead by accident or association are transferred to the Vaikuntha planets. Essentially, there is no material difference between Golok and Vaikuntha, but in Vaikuntha, the Lord is served in unlimited opulence, whereas in Golok, the Lord is served in natural affection. So technically, that's the only difference between Golok Vrindavan, which is also a spiritual planet, and the other Vaikuntha planets. So it depends how much love of Godhead we have developed, or we have awakened. This love of Godhead is awakened by the association of pure devotees of the Lord. Here the word Parthastra Puta is significant. Those who saw the beautiful face of the Lord on the battlefield of Kurukshetra were purified first by Arjuna when he made his onslaught with arrows. So first they were purified by Arjuna's arrows, because Arjuna's arrows would go and go through their bodies and cut their limbs, and that would purify them because all the pain they had to go through. But at the same time, when they see the beautiful face of the Lord, because now they're purified because of by the pain, Now the purification is there, and then at the same time they're seeing the Lord, they blow back. And also because they are purified by the devotee of Krishna, pure devotee of Krishna. And Arjuna was shooting the arrows. If they would have died by arrows of somebody else, maybe they would not have been purified that much. But the devotees of the Lord were shooting. Similarly, on the other side also, it's not just the Kaurava side, even the Pandava side, whoever died, uh, because they were shot by other arrows, so the perfect purification was there, and more purification because Krishna himself was present. So the idea is we all have to leave our bodies. So let's try to leave our body, or let's make the situation in such a way that we leave it in presence of Krishna. Presence of Krishna, presence of Krishna's name, presence of Krishna's form, presence of Krishna's devotees. That's all we have to do. The Lord appeared for the mission of diminishing the burden of the world, and Arjuna was assisting the Lord by fighting on his behalf. Arjuna personally declined to fight, and the whole instruction of the Bhagavad Gita was given to Arjuna to engage him in the fight. As a pure devotee of the Lord, Arjuna agreed to fight in preference to his own decision. And thus Arjuna fought to assist the Lord in his mission of diminishing the burden of the world. In fact, every warrior assisted him in that mission, in that Kurukshetra battle of Mahabharata. All the activities of a pure devotee are executed on behalf of the Lord because a pure devotee of the Lord has nothing to do for his personal interest. So all the warriors who were fighting there, they had some personal interest. Either they wanted to support Duryodhan and party, or they wanted to support Maharaj Yudhishthira. But Arjun, and of course all the Pandavas, they were all pure. Like of all the Pandavas, Arjun was the purest because he himself was given this teaching of Bhagavad Gita. So they were not fighting for their own personal interests or for their own sake. They were fighting because Krishna wanted them to fight. And of all of them, Arjun, because Arjun is more pure than rest of them. So that's why Prabhupada is writing, Arjuna's killing was as good as killing by the Lord himself. As soon as Arjun shot an arrow at an enemy, that enemy became purified of all material contaminations and became eligible to be transferred to the spiritual sky. Those warriors who appreciated the lotus feet of the Lord and saw his face at the front had the dormant love of God awakened, and thus they were transferred at once to Vaikuntha Loka, not to the impersonal state of Brahmajyoti, as was Shishupal. Shishupal died without appreciating the Lord, while others died with appreciation of the Lord. Both were transferred to the spiritual sky, but those who awakened to love of God were transferred to the planets of the transcendental sky. Uddhava seemingly lamented that his own position was less than that of the warriors on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, because they had attained to Vaikuntha, whereas he remained to lament the disappearance of the Lord. So here, Prabhupada is writing a wonderful statement that those who awakened to love of God were transferred to the planets of the transcendental sky. So getting transferred to Vaikuntha Loka or to Golok Vrindavan is not an easy process or easily achievable destination. Awakened to love of God. Of course, we like to write for anybody and everybody who leaves the body. Any devotee was chanted for a few years. When he leaves the body, we say, oh, he went back to Godhead. Or even the relatives of the devotees, when they leave the body, he went back to God, or she went back to God. It's not that easy. Have we developed love for God? Have we developed even a glimpse of the love of God? Even prem, abhas, we haven't even developed that yet. We are still so much in material consciousness. How can we even assume anything? Of course, we can all come to this conclusion that yes, he performed bhakti, whatever extent, and Krishna will definitely take care of it. Or Prabhupada will definitely take care of him. But to come to a conclusion that, oh, he went back to God, well, that's a good aspiration, but might not be there yet. And we all want to be there, so for that we have to be purified. So not by Arjuna's arrows, we don't want that kind of purification. So we want to purify our consciousness. Just chant, do our sadhana, chanting, reading, hearing, association, service. That is there to purify our consciousness. Meanwhile, for all our bad karmas, or for all our anarthas, Krishna can arrange for some arrows of Arjuna. So it's better that we get purified by arrows of Arjuna than the arrows of Cupid. Krishna can arrange different arrows from different devotees, different servants of his. It is just meant to purify ourselves. So yes, those arrows will pierce through, they'll be very painful, they'll be hurting, but they're all meant to purify our consciousness so that we don't let go of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna and his devotees. And we continue with our devotional service, continue with our hearing, chanting. Try not just continue, try to improve that and continue to purify our consciousness so that we develop some love of Godhead so that at the time of death, just like for Bhishma Pitama, Krishna was present. For us, maybe Krishna will come, maybe Krishna's devotees come, maybe Krishna's name is there, maybe Krishna's form could be in front of us, so that when we leave our body, we can go back to God. So thank you all very much. You all have a wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Stop it. Jai Shri Prabhupada.